Mirrors have fascinated and terrified humanity for centuries. We use them daily, checking our reflections without a second thought, assuming that what we see is a perfect physical representation of ourselves. But what if the image staring back isn't just light bouncing off silver? In the darkest corners of Indonesian folklore, mirrors are seen as more than just glass. They are windows to another realm. Specifically, the legend of Sindo Bolong suggests a hollow void exists right behind your reflection. Imagine standing in a dimly lit room, your eyes fixed on the glass, waiting for the reflection to move independently. You feel a chill as you realize the depth of the mirror is far greater than the thickness of its frame.
Throughout history, diverse cultures have feared the hidden power of the mirror. In ancient Rome, it was widely believed that mirrors had the capacity to trap the soul of the gazer. This is precisely why we still see the tradition of covering mirrors in the house of the deceased. We fear the spirit might get lost in a silver labyrinth. The term Sindo Bolong refers to this perceived hollowness, a perforated reality where the physical world ends and a spiritual abyss begins. If you look long enough at your own pupils in the dark, you might start to feel that the room behind you in the reflection isn't the same room you are standing in right now.
Is it all just a trick of the mind? Science offers a compelling explanation known as the Troxler effect. When you stare at a mirror in low light, your brain begins to lose focus on peripheral details, causing your own face to warp and distort into something monstrous or unrecognizable. This neurological glitch creates the terrifying illusion of a stranger standing where you should be. But for those who truly believe in the legend of Sindo Bolong, science is merely a shield, a logical comfort against a terrifying truth. They argue that the distortion isn't a glitch, but a brief glimpse of the entity hiding behind the veil, waiting for you to notice it.
Local legends speak of Sindo Bolong not just as an abstract concept, but as a specific entity or a hollowed space that exists in parallel to our own. It is said that at exactly 3 a.m., the barrier between our world and the void behind the glass becomes dangerously thin. Those who have dared to stare into a Bolong or perforated mirror claim to see a landscape of gray ash and silent, unmoving figures. These figures are whispered to be the shadows of those who looked too long and were eventually pulled through, leaving only their reflections behind to mimic their lives in our world, pretending to be human.
There are ancient rituals designed to intentionally pierce the Sindo Bolong. One of the most famous involved two mirrors placed exactly parallel to each other, creating an infinite corridor of reflections. This is often referred to as the Devil's Doorway. As the images recede into the infinite distance, they supposedly lose their humanity and their connection to the physical world. By the 10th or 20th reflection, the person in the mirror is no longer you. It is a hollow shell, a Sindo Bolong inhabitant watching you with predatory hunger, waiting for a single moment of psychological weakness to swap places with its creator in the physical light.
Many true crime and paranormal archives contain chilling accounts of what people call mirror people. One documented account describes a man who noticed his reflection blinked a full second later than he did. Another speaks of a woman who saw a pale hand reach out from the bottom edge of her bathroom vanity mirror while she was washing her face. These aren't just spooky stories, they are visceral warnings. They suggest that the hollow isn't empty at all. It is populated by entities that have been observing our movements and learning our habits since the first piece of polished obsidian was held up to the sun.
Why are we so naturally afraid of the dark and mirrors? Evolutionarily, we are wired to recognize faces for survival. When that face becomes wrong, it triggers an uncanny valley response, a primal fear of something that looks human but lacks a soul. Sindo Bolong preys on this exact instinct. The hollowness is a metaphor for the loss of identity. When you look in a mirror, you expect to see yourself. When you catch a glimpse of the hollow, you realize that your identity is fragile and easily replaced by the shadow that has been forced to mimic you for your entire life.
Some occultists believe mirrors are literal gateways composed of a solid state of liquid that vibrates at a frequency different from our own. They argue that if one can match the frequency of the Sindo Bolong through meditation or sound, they could step through the glass.
But the question remains, why would anyone want to enter? The world on the other side is described as a silent, inverted nightmare where the sun never rises, and the only sound is the frantic heartbeat of those trapped behind the silver. It is a world of echoes, where every action is just a copy of something happening elsewhere.
We've all heard that breaking a mirror brings 7 years of bad luck. However, in the context of the Sindo Bolong, the danger is far more immediate and physical. Breaking the glass doesn't just destroy the reflection, it shatters the seal between dimensions. Each shard becomes a small, jagged window for the entities of the void to spill out into our reality. This is why traditional wisdom suggests burying the shards deep in the earth or throwing them into fast-running water. It is an attempt to wash away the connection to the hollow world and prevent the shadow from following you home.
As we finish our exploration of what lies behind the mirror, take a moment to look at the closest reflective surface near you. Is it just a simple piece of glass? Or is there a depth and a darkness you haven't noticed before? The legend of Sindo Bolong serves as a haunting reminder, because once you truly see the hollow starts looking back at you with eyes that aren't your own. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more updates.